Have you ever heard a story where someone turns the tables on their captor with just a single, brilliant question? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. This is a remarkable, true story, straight from a 19th century autobiography. It's a tale of quick thinking, high stakes, and a moment of defiance that honestly changed everything.
So just imagine this for a second. You're under arrest. You're about to be hauled off to prison. The officer in charge is standing right there beside you, and this is the question you ask him. How on earth did we get to this moment? That's the story we're going to unpack.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off back in the 1830s with a man named Parley P. Pratt. He and his friends were missionaries for a new faith, and they were making their way west from New York. But, as you can imagine, in the frontier towns of Ohio, their passionate message was about to collide head-on with the local authorities.
And what's just wild is how fast this all happened. I mean, in just a matter of weeks, their movement absolutely exploded, going from a few missionaries to 1,000 members. And it turns out that kind of success didn't exactly win them a lot of friends. It actually ignited some really intense persecution and put a giant target on their backs.
So all this tension comes to a head one night. Picture this. Pratt is at the home of a guy named Simeon Carter. He's right in the middle of explaining the Book of Mormon when, boom, an officer walks in and arrests him on what Pratt himself called a very frivolous charge. He literally has to drop the book he was holding and gets marched out into the night.
So Pratt is taken to court. But let's be clear, this was never, ever going to be about justice. This was all about intimidation.
The whole thing was a complete setup. The witnesses were just flat out lying, and the judge wasn't even trying to hide his bias. He was openly bragging that he wanted to throw Pratt in prison just to, and I quote, test the powers of our apostleship. There was just no way he was getting a fair trial. So, faced with this total sham, Pratt makes a really fascinating choice. Instead of fighting a battle he knows he can't possibly win, he decides to say nothing. Absolutely nothing. He chooses silent defiance, basically treating the whole ridiculous proceeding with the contempt it deserved. And the hours just drag on. The court is taunting him, insulting him, trying to get any kind of reaction out of him, but Pratt stays silent. You can just feel the tension building until, close to midnight, he finally decides to act, but not at all in the way anyone could have guessed. He asks his companion to sing a hymn with him, right there, in the middle of this hostile, angry courtroom. It's such a brilliant move, right? He meets their aggression not with more anger, but with this peaceful act of faith that just completely baffled and infuriated his accusers. And then he delivers the final twist of the knife. They're all demanding that he pay a fine, but instead, he completely flips the script on them. He says if they repent for their lies and their unjust judgment, he'll pray for their forgiveness. I mean, he offers them mercy right when they were offering him none.
And the court's reaction was pretty much what you'd expect, just pure rage and mockery. The judge scoffs, "My big bulldog, pray for me," while another guy just curses. Pratt's calm defiance had completely shattered their composure and just pushed them right over the edge.
So the trial finally ends, and they lock Pratt in a public inn for the night. But as the sun comes up the next morning, the story is about to hit its absolutely incredible climax.
His friends show up to see him the next day, and very quietly, he tells them to just keep going on their journey, and that he'll catch up with them soon. You can tell he already has a plan cooking. And here we are. This is the moment. The officer, a Mr. Peabody, takes him outside to start the walk to prison, and Pratt, just as cool as can be, looks his captor right in the eye and asks the question that changes absolutely everything. "Mr. Peabody, are you good at a race?"
And that one simple question, well, it kicks off one of the most unusual and frankly brilliant escape sequences you will ever hear about.
Peabody, the officer, is just brimming with confidence. He says, no, he isn't fast, but his giant bulldog sure is. And Pratt's response is just, it's perfect. He basically thanks the officer for his hospitality, announces that he's leaving now, and wishes him a good day.
And then he just takes off. He starts walking, then breaks into a run, and pretty soon he's moving so fast, Pratt describes it as being like a deer. The officer is so completely stunned, so caught off guard, that for a few crucial seconds he just stands there, jaw on the floor, not moving a muscle.
Okay, let's break this down because it is genius. First, he uses the officer's shock to get a huge head start, like 200 yards. Then he makes a break for the woods. The dog is catching up, it's about to pounce, when Pratt has this flash of brilliance. He mimics the officer. He points and shouts, basically commanding the dog to chase a ghost deeper into the forest. The dog, now being yelled at by two people, just barrels right past him. And just like that, Pratt slips into the trees and vanishes.
Now, that escape is incredible. You'd think that's the end of the story, right? But it's not. Not even close. In fact, maybe the most surprising part is still to come.
Wait a minute. Remember way back at the beginning? When Pratt was arrested, he dropped that Book of Mormon he was reading? Whatever happened to it?
Well, here's the twist. The book was picked up by Simeon Carter, the owner of the house. The very object that kicked off this whole mess was just left behind. And the man right at the center of it all, he started to read it.
And the fallout from that one simple act was, well, it was staggering. Carter doesn't just skim the book. It profoundly changes him. He travels 50 miles just to find the church. He gets baptized, and he becomes a preacher himself. I mean, think about the irony. In their attempt to stop one missionary, the court accidentally created a brand new one.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What started as this incredible story about a clever race against the law became something so much bigger. It's just a powerful reminder that sometimes the most important victories aren't won in a big confrontation, but through wit, defiance, and the unexpected ripples of a single audacious act.